Okay, everyone, this is Acid Roots. I've got an album review for you, which is Disturbed's Indestructible. So with this, it's hard really talking about Disturbed a bit. I've been trying to do this, but I find myself listening to their first album, The Sickness, quite a bit. I do not own and have not listened to Believe, and 10,000 Fists I do not find myself listening to. So when I went to this album, it was kind of like, okay, you know, am I going to find myself saying I only like their new metal stuff, or did I just not mesh and gel with 10,000 Fists? And luckily, I'm starting to think that it's probably the case that 10,000 Fists was just the one I didn't gel with. But, you know, these are opinions. If you see the points that they're trying to make here, that's one thing, but the music is kind of off key when you don't feel the same message as they do. Now, big thing is this album takes care of that, and it actually works pretty well. I've listened to the singles. There are 4 of them, and what they wind up doing is, what these 4 songs wind up doing is they kind of, I can't say that I cannot say that these songs resemble anything from The Sickness, and I've briefly listened to Believe, so I don't think they resemble their new metal days, but it does feel like a heavy metal record, and there's really not too terrible much difference between metal and new metal, at least from what I can tell. I mean, the guitars are just as fast and jarring as they ever are in a new metal song, and just there isn't rapping, and kind of the sound of it is, I mean, it's tricky trying to describe and figure it out. That's just why I see this record as kind of a continuation of The Sickness, even though the themes may be different. And I think that's probably the only thing that bugs me, is just that Disturbed has matured more than I have at this point in time. And if we're not on the same wavelength, it's hard to have as much affection for them. But you know, perhaps I'll grow into this role. I mean, I definitely did not like The Sickness as much as I do now, besides Down with the Sickness, so I think it'll be an exciting feat to see what happens. But, so yeah, there were 4 singles. They're all, the first 8, 9 songs are pretty much as ferocious as ever. Inside the Fire is the lead single. It's a bit old now, but I still recommend it. And I'm liking when Disturbed is able to hit the charts. One song I've been hearing a lot on the radio lately is Open Your Eyes. And it appears that Disturbed is able to usually get at least 2 or 3 hit songs that chart, and chart often. So that pretty much means that what you're looking at is it's likely that Indestructible and Inside the Fire are going to be the ones that you're going to hear, supposing you can find stations that play songs from 2008, 2009. But, you know, these are winners. You know, definitely check these out. And then in addition to that, you've got in addition to that, you've got 2 more singles to listen to that help. But there are no promotional singles. I don't know if there was any other promotion for this, but 4 is pretty solid. I mean, you can't beat 4 radio songs out of 12, so that's a third of the project. And I'm going to give this album a 10. I'm also going to talk about a few more songs that you need to hear. So the most immediate songs are Indestructible, Inside the Fire, Perfect Insanity, Deceiver, and The Curse. Now, all of these are where most of the heat is, but then I think once again the first 8 or 9 songs are pretty much as fiery as ever. So I liked basically 9 out of 12, The only other songs, well, I guess I'll just list them. So the 9 were Indestructible, Inside the Fire, Deceiver, The Night, Perfect Insanity, Haunted, Enough, The Curse, and Divide. That lets you know. The social score I will give a 9, just because one of the songs did not chart, but it still had 3 pretty good ones, and I do mean that, really good ones. But, you know, anytime you manage to get 4, like Godsmack has been able to get 4 just about every album that they've dropped, but it still doesn't feel like that's enough these days. And really, I don't know, I just would have liked to seen something extra that solidified the fact that this album was rock hard. Maybe that's the reason why it only went platinum, but, you know, in order to go multi-platinum these days, you need like an extracurricular campaign, and that's always not that easy to materialize. But, you know, probably if that would have come out in 2002, I'd probably say that it would have went 3 or 4 times platinum. But, so, can this record be topped? Not really. I haven't reviewed that many rock albums after the year 2007, but I'm definitely going to start. I just, you know, part of the problem is, you know, Limp Bizkit wasn't here in 2008. Godsmack wasn't here in 2008. Linkin Park was not here in 2008. Korn was not here in 2008. So getting past the 2007 records, most of them just went from 2007 to 2010. And so that was kind of the difficulty. But as it stands, I'm definitely going to find and weed out all of these albums. But the future, Disturbed did drop an album in 2015, and there are songs still charting today from them. And the only other thing is they did take a hiatus, but I'm glad they're back. So I think they're probably going to take another break, but we'll be hearing from them again soon.